The radio station, developed and published by Chilla's Art in October of 2021, is a first-person indie horror game in which you investigate the mysterious sudden death of your brother Masaki by going to his place of work, the titular radio station. The victim was found dead there, and the cause of death was uncertain. The police gave up on the investigation and ruled it a suicide, but you have your doubts about that, and since no one else will do a damn thing, guess it's up to you to play detective. Once you gain entrance to the radio station, your objective comes eerily into focus. Acting as a foreboding beacon in the penumbral darkness that pervades the station, a lone lamp shines its light on a tape cassette player. Upon inserting the first tape and playing it, a chill runs down your spine, as a haunting interlude precedes a recording of the voice of your dead brother. Or if a chill doesn't run down your spine, you must have nerves of steel. Seriously, this was such an impactful soundbite on par with the fucking Lavender Town theme from the original Pokemon games. The tape contains a recording of your brother's ghost story radio segment. At the conclusion of the tape, you learn that there are 6 more to find. Anyone else getting Slenderman vibes? Primary objective having been learned, you drive around a confined area solving various puzzles in order to find more cassette tapes to hopefully learn what the hell happened to your brother. It's a simple concept, but I'm a huge fan of a slow burn. Like when devs mete out snippets of information that eventually crystallize and cohere right in front of your face at a climactic moment. That feeling is just too satisfying for words, and the devs gave me just that feeling. In addition to some really effective pacing, the radio station also has other strong elements that contribute to a downright bone-chilling atmosphere. The soundscape works really well. For the most part, all we hear is the dull, persistent chirping of crickets in the background. This has a lulling effect that is then abruptly shattered by thuds, shattering light bulbs, etc. This worked really well. I already mentioned the melody that plays at the start of each cassette tape, but to reiterate, mwah! Finally, the voice actor of Masaki did a remarkable job with the line delivery. I found his growing sense of fear and bemusement as he read each subsequent letter from Toko-san both believable and compelling. And the distortion effect on his voice at specific points on the audio playback was the fucking icing on the cake. Visually, the radio station plays a lot with darkness. Sources of light other than your wimpy flashlight are both rare and meager. It is difficult to find your way through the ever-encroaching darkness, which makes the exploration and puzzle-solving portions of this game just as terrifying as the parts that are actually supposed to ruin your trousers. This is a surprisingly hard feat to accomplish. If not done correctly, the puzzle-solving and horror parts of a game can feel compartmentalized, like, okay, time to solve this puzzle so I can continue to get scared right after. But the fear of just what the hell is out there maintains its grip on you until the bitter end, and I fucking love it. But now that the good's out of the way, let's talk about what didn't work particularly well. The biggest problem with this game is the driving. It's clunky, and the places you have to go to are way too spread out. The perspective is bad, the controls are bad, just everything is bad about the driving. And from what I can tell, there really wasn't much of a need to include it as an element of gameplay at all. Sure, there are a couple jump scares that occur while you're on the road, but we could figure out a way to have just as good or better ones and get rid of the driving altogether. We could have easily just had a map of locations to select and explore that took us right there. And speaking of maps, what a chore it was to have to look over at the map while driving. And it was incredibly hard to read due to how dark the game is and how unclear the various landmarks on the map are. Now, I get that this is realistic. If you were driving with a paper map on a dark night, this is pretty much how things would go. But I just think it's always better to have the map in some kind of pause menu. As a smooth-brained, slow thinker, I need to take my time planning things out and visualizing things in my head, or I get very frustrated. Finally, and this is a very small criticism, really I'm starting to nitpick here. The contents of the cassette tapes could be a little long. They're super relevant and I got genuine chills, but pretty much every one overstayed its welcome. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that, but it wouldn't hurt the devs to listen to each one again with a critical ear and see if there isn't anything they could cut from each one. At full price, the game is $4.99 US on Steam. Playtime is about 1 to 2 hours, but there are multiple endings, which adds a bit of replay value. But if you're on the fence about this game, you should absolutely get it for the chilling atmosphere alone. Seriously, the radio station isn't perfect, but it's an amazing example of the slow burn.